Hello, New York. Before our founding parents were born, just as in other modern nations, already the tactically denatured native system was gone, and there were all kinds of slavery laws against everyone. Color worse, only differentially, because this took over internation sciences, because this took over the sciences of all locations, areas, and states, made them victims only capable of blaming other things other than themselves for the real causes of negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures caused by loss of perfection as the course of science, distinct identities, the same way we are as individuals, but simultaneously as semi nature, grouped ages coming in and going out, and sexes, all coming from a mother, which is juxtaposed with the course of what history is about as a value of bonded subjects, is inseparable from the value of a verb. One way that is inseparable from all parts of itself, even where and how it is won't juxtapose. The three Trinity, this Trinity, there are more and more identities of Trinity nature, which are three invisible but still discernible identities of sequence nature that also have two further identities of sequence nature. Only the extent of this is debatable. Now, see, we have this debated offensively through with physical delusions and with criminally foreign influence premises treatments already enter sciences. Evidence reception treatments already. We have this is about where everyone's a great person. But see, all identities of the ground locations, especially regarding interbranch and intersciences of each age. So now this is to New York because this is about the Burroughs book, and this is I'm being delayed with because I'm being worse than extorted with people since before with Connecticut courts with areas crime rolls confessed, recorded, demonstrated by themselves. Now they don't know the extent of it, but they're involved with juxtaposed natures of racketeering. From also before those are people involved with Weathersfield. I don't know, involved with a database racketeering method where they have people walk by and make statements to you, and then years later, you know they film sequence shifts. They make self-valued by maintaining ground locations. We have to say what's bad about it too, like our service people. Like, please, if they want to debate, they wanted to have debates with sequence racketeering because they're criminally foreign influenced. Uses of now, this is former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, and many federal criminals and overt criminal enterprises associated with federal criminal defendants of his in a 2006 case that are involved with this since before the Trade Center attack, and with uses of locations on and off the campuses of each age at the time. This is when I was at grammar school at a school about a mile from here. They recorded themselves with bonded, categorically timed sequence shifts and natures of identity thefts, frauds, and racketeering roles. With one of all the people in my school involved also with the Weathersfield police chief and 1 years ago. Also with their intimate and families involved. Weathersfield police chief further involved with the principal sex offenders campus with his family. Further involved with a whole bunch of people, with prosecutors and judges, with New Britain Superior Court. Tons of people over there have been spreading lies about me since I was a kid, attaching me to fake locations, attaching other people to fake locations. WFSB did this. Now, these are also people that are involved with this racketeering method, where the branches had collusion with other nations, with overt criminal enterprise tied to them. They have the styles of fact cheating victims all went to become jobs and titles as trained to in relationship to and as what is key roles to what keeps all locations, areas, and states self-valued breaching screens, pretending other, needing to quote sacrifices to jobs all recorded criminally foreign influence, titles all recorded criminally foreign influence. It's very simple. Where I'm not even a lawyer. The bar itself, criminally foreign influence, delusions raw. It's all right if people want to debate things. They're preventing the sequence shift that show them with racketeering. See, they have worse than racketeering, worse than war crimes. Here and there, all the nations, these are fake sides. And they maintain that self-value, where the only counters to crazy things like wars as solutions are sanctioning bodies that are in collusion with maintain manifest victim predator fact treatment, positive treatments. They want to speak about spirit halfway, not even degeneratively, because that's all they're victims. You guys need to change, not pretend that's we are have one president with free speech, because that's the individual value. Important, in other words, they're supposed to pretend integrity in relationship to other nations with the halfway. In other words, their solutions are business as usual, and that's only manifest trained. That's what's positive, because originally still we were forced to demonstrate value nature systems, all tactically ulterior from the one that has the values of the surface values of the Constitution simultaneously valued and sequentially in relationship to what is differential. Second, as sequence through, we're being prevented. They have Wethersfield town offices have uses of all the database, private, interbranch, intercampuses involved with database racketeering. Uses of interbranch families as victims by victim predators. Uses of the areas as where predators too. In collusion. So now they want to have people debate about what is not even debatable. And with physical delusion. So we have the courts offensively with aggressions and with fake care as their roles with identity frauds, thefts, racketeering, worse than racketeering originally. And still, what is that? Black, entertaining that. What is that? Jim Crow. Where that's where they were self-valuing enemies, where they were still in collusion with them, because they're victim predators that came through school that maintain quality of fact treatment nature, criminal seriousness, self-valued, criminally foreign influenced, criminally legalized. Now we have this recorded, but we're not free speech. We have the people pretending to be about free speech, forcing debates that defenses of are valued by hundreds of nations individually grouped and together, needed to pretend here or there. They are worth identity of the law as our species, which is simultaneously humanity, distinctly and non-distinctly as value as nature, and as nature is value. In those two sequences, distinctly and non-distinctly. There are 5 identities of sequence nature. There are 5 identities of spirit. And they will visit each. Just kidding. This is coming to, from, as, with, and for you. for you, positive or negative, in relationship to its system, which is distinctly, non-distinctly, simultaneously, and with two identities of sequence nature before and beyond that are conditional too. The complete nature's complete identity of relationship to itself and the value of that, which is sequential. Part of space was moved into existence to keep it positive. It simultaneously moved part of existence into a bonded Trinity manifest in relationship to the way, the identity of forever, and more than that. Because forever is an identity of volume that is bigger than its body of value. This is what is self-generating. Only extent of it is debatable. That's where with the names of God, which is a variable, which can be, this is the science must be led by what is known, true always, forever. We are temporary / lasting forever nature. Only the extent of it is debatable. So we have such extents being debated offensively inter-sciences, not by accident. Because already all they produced and allowed to be private, interbranch, are only capable of being lipogressions used remotely originally and still. Now this is worse than war crimes. This is like these are people involved already with sick readings of the statutes, leaving out the sequence shifts, leaving out their worse than racketeering methods, worse than war crimes, roles with uses of AT&T, uses of things to keep our agencies criminally foreign influenced, the CIA, their family members, uses of their roles all along routes, their houses, their family, uses of their Facebook pages interbranch, involve crimes, even sexual, with little kids, sequence racketeering with them, exploit that on and off campuses. Not by accident, we have all these we have transnational gangs, militaries, their family members, all that, which is peaceful only in relationship. In other words, our nature's is better than peaceful. Every single person. So these are people who want to make things personal. These are people that have been using words crimes because they've been stacking things in databases and preventing people free speech to demonstrate that, while they just attach us further and further to fake words, fake locations, fake ties to other people. These are people involved with racketeering, with the counters to and as the overt criminal enterprises with our areas, in collusion with them, with mail crime, wire crimes, whole mail crime methods, wire crime methods that connect to forging names, switching names, falsifying police reports, and collusion, the courts, because they had to hide their racketeering on and off their locations. Normandy Heights, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with all kinds of foreign and domestic military. People on off CCSU with the leaderships of prisons, with their roles with that, with all kinds of natures, even human trafficking with media. Now they have to keep lies with other nations. They have to keep agreements where they have shared policing. So what do they have to do? Keep secrets together as identities that here are that in relationship to time treatments too. Then when things go wrong, because this is fluent right through that, they punish each other, and that locks in state first, further the identity of negative value nature progression that humanity is in. First, because it works with the identity of the ground. Less valuable than us, but there are exceptions. This built modern nations as a machine from this tactically denatured Native American base. Not just Native American, Native base. Any person, no matter who you are, as value, you are native pure. whether you realize it or not. There is one. This is one. This is the science of what really we were now being generated by and generating. Life is not stagnant. It is a quality of diffusion of one identity's identity of value progression, one forever identity of forever nature, making more of its temporary / lasting, positive or negative. And positive or negative is a conjunction to identity as a semi / simultaneous / complete nature, and then complete further 2 ways at the same time as its value, distinctly and non-distinctly, to its active phase, which is temporary / lasting space nature. What does it look like when each identity has one part of its identity that is non-distinctly shared? It looks like outer space, whole bunch of things floating, tied, but not tied. One identity as the identity of forever, and we're not supposed to. This prayer is about correlation with the ancients used prayer for. They switched science and religion to be the identities of the ground, relationships to positive, as roles, with even private. All the science is distinctly, not distinctly, simultaneously, consciously having been maintained, criminally foreign influenced, to maintain defenses of that as victims, defending sensibilities as trained to do it from off campuses. And now, these are where the branches of government are recorded with other nations like Russians, pretending conspiracy theories pretending people make conspiracy theories. The whole time I asked 50,000 times to have them respond to them before recorded, forging names, switching names of officers, stacking interbranch racketeering acts with evidences, falsified police reports, database racketeering, further and further involved with people, the same ones involved intercities with my grammar school when I was a kid, with juxtaposed natures of racketeering, same overt criminal enterprises they're involved with, pretending to be against verbally, but actually recorded themselves with racketeering acts and people that confess them, like a Joshua Julian, with overt criminal enterprises, with my area too, with them, with the roles with the AT&T. People that already had, over decades, roles with the government, working for intelligence, in association with that, with these cliques. They record things so they can pretend to perceive things. And see, this is how you have to counter the court's roles with this. Originally and still, victims but victim predators. We have to have, in other words, former director of the FBI is also involved with this, and other agencies. Whole bunch of people associated with the Scalora family, involved with on-off child sex offenders campus, and with CCSU, with military, foreign and domestic, on-off that location through time, with people tied to racketeering between church locations, houses next to them, parks, people involved with corner racketeering, so they can pretend to perceive things when they can exploit perception. We have evidence reception racketeering recorded. And we need to do more than just investigate the investigators. Forgiveness is for this. They won't let forgiveness. That's where there were passions and emotions offensively dishonest. We have so much space to do temporary, where we have forsaken areas like New York City. That's we're gonna write books and stuff like that, and be owned by the system. But we have to get the species doing this too with pantheism. Otherwise, so we can afford. We have the unfathomable means, deeper than we have to go, over higher than we have to go, that we can only afford if we do it as a species led by the identity of relativity, which exists. See, we have this is volume science that exists, but we have offensively physical delusions juxtaposed with criminally foreign influence, fact cheating nature, sequence treatments as volume science, as volume theory as formally presented. Then hear that, oh, they adapt, but as positive treatments. So they need to speak about spirit and things and all these opinions, but they're preventing the mandated law. They have been preventing mandated law, way worse the whole time. Now that's juxtaposed with man's styles of pretending not to realize, forging names, switching names, making confessions, and then using that time to attach me and other people to fake behavior, fake words, fake sequences, fake ties to others, stacking more and more falsified police reports into databases. Now these are courts involved, Hartford courts, New Britain Superior Court. Again, juxtaposed natures of racketeering uses of their Facebook pages and of the various identities of the sciences and of the databases from off campuses maintained interbranch criminally foreign influence. Everyone speaking through everyone in the background used criminally, used to keep the identities of what was since before our founders let them make an opinion about Jim Crow, anyone. It's going to lead to immediate release for everyone and liberation. Unfathomed means are their delusions wrought in criminally foreign influence, fact cheating nature, sequence racketeering, self-value. That's what's actually recorded. Identities as criminal and seditious natures. See, that's where they're pretending to be things about facts with journalism. They have recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with racketeering, where they pretend they're just insulated and they're speaking through other people. They're involved with spreading racketeering because they already lied. They already used allegations, words like allegations, criminally in courts. Words like exculpatory, inculpatory, criminally in courts, falsifying police reports, using databases for their own individually grouped and together criminally foreign influence natures, roles. Now, these are people all along the street where Harriet Beecher Stowe / Mark Twain house are bonded there. Down the street from there are people that were involved with and are involved that I barely know. They make you know of someone, then they pretend you had a conversation with them. From my town, but intercities, that's in Hartford, Connecticut. I'm in Wethersfield, Connecticut. Down the street from there is Robert Chevrolet. I don't know if he still has his office there. And then they have locations near there associated with FBI, CIA racketeering roles with uses of the databases and distances from them, and their roles with natures of identity thefts, frauds, and racketeering missed, sequence racketeering missed. This kid, now there's many tied to a Detective Dillon and to Sean Dillon and Anna Dillon. Also uses the name Annie Dillon. Also forging names, switching names roles with people associated with them with confessions. I've never had a conversation with them. This is what is recorded, and people speaking to them. A whole bunch of people at Hartford Hospital also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated racketeering with them, with child sex offenders, with other natures of racketeering with them. With these were doctors forging names, switching names with them, pretending conversations with men and women, doctors and nurses and their family members, with people that were forced to their presence, because because I caught that's also in relationship to them, they're forcing people to speak through other people, and then them pretending other. Also with this identity racketeering and the sequence racketeering. Also uses of a Facebook page interbranch, inside of New Britain Superior Court and online, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. Further involved with the principal sex offenders campus, with a whole bunch of people tied to a Kerr family. And now I barely know them, and they recorded, confessed, and demonstrated were involved with other people that went to private schools with one of the others. Never saw the other one around the school ever. Now, these are people involved also with all along the Berlin Turnpike, all along Two Route Highway, with whole groups, whole age groups they use for sequence shifts. They put involved with their roles with bridges to the worst things, even like human trafficking. WFSB attached me to fake words, fake locations, fake ties to others, with people associated with this Dillon family. Now, see that now they're trying to start, and fights between me and my neighbors. These are people coaching them to roles, recorded, involved with sequence racketeering, with medical racketeering, untimely deaths brought up the principal sex offenders campus. Also, a Joshua Julian, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated by people associated with him in my area. I never saw in my area in my life. Never had a conversation with my life, but online. He's recorded, confessed, and demonstrated having been roles with racketeering with overt criminal enterprise with others in my area that forced the principal sex offender not told on, and various natures of abuses of kids and of their family. WFSB attaching me and other people to fake locations, fake ties to others, including doctors. And with them, these are drug cliques also with prosecutors and their drug cliques involved with sequence racketeering. Their roles with racketeering with databases when I was a kid. They spread lies, tell people that people are liars. They make allegations against people because they've been lying about in courts. They've been using depositions to paint illusions, paint fake ties between people in relationship to the sequence racketeering. Whole bunch of people tied to a CCSU with the DeMoro family. Also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with the McCord family. I don't know. I don't know. These are people with foreign and domestic nations that share our on and off campuses. Recorded, confessed, and demonstrated also having been used in how all these different unrelated campuses. Their identities of stewards from off campuses into branch maintain criminally foreign influence with themselves. Now that's not debatable. What lies in physical delusions and criminal foreign and crime methods. Now they're preventing free speech. Now now there's a now CNN has positions with America and other nations. Now they also have collusion with people involved with World Trade Center racketeering of mixed natures that were used to lock them into roles with the illusions that pulled off the World Trade Center racketeering acts, illusions, and roles with the method /S as the people involved with sequence shift database racketeering uses of the databases at each of the campuses I went to since I was a kid, as the people further involved then and now with sex offenders' families and with with one a sex offender's family, and then with the sex offenders, both of them. Worse than them on the principal sex offenders campus. 2 Mendes police pretend to meet a fake words recorded by police. They're involved with racketeering on and off the Wethersfield Police Department with the Wethersfield Police Chief. His daughter is also involved criminally. They need to pretend such as Pat makes it about passions. They're using that. They have prosecutors with their kids involved. They have uses of former Governor Malloy with them, preventing mandated law, involved with identity theft, human trafficking, involved with medical racketeering interstates. A whole bunch of people wound off Middlesex Community College with the former director of the FBI, like a Jensen family. Also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with online police racketeering interbranch, intermilitary. as the ones that are foreign and domestic, inclusion leading up to and in the Trade Center attack. They have Saudis. They used. I'll get you the affidavits, and there's one I don't know the name of with Nordstrom's in Hartford. I mean, on the West Hartford. That mall in West Hartford police have a whole bunch of ties to DeMoros and to a Kerr family, and to a Chris Walters, and to people with the other locations around there, on and off church, on and off fire department, on and off the strip malls, on and off the locations next to the highways, as the people involved racketeering also with DACA, used as a platform for way worse. That was here since original. This method that keeps standing manifest, worse than Forsaken. No, no one. These are that's why right on top of the Forsaken are people charged pretending to be about care by pretending other people don't care. By being the people, but we're the ones who take care of them. You're keeping them roles hiding your pseudo positive victim predators. Forgiveness is about this is where this is about where the identity is shared. The science is sharing identity, distinctly, non-distinctly, and simultaneously. Forever's identity. God is a science that is positive or negative. You're right or wrong, and right or wrong in relationship to 5 identities of right at the same that are simultaneous. That's how we know. And as simultaneously as value / value progression, and sequentially, so it's invisible but still discernible and learnable. Here, she means appear. So the Burroughs book will fund. We also have some will be trickle down and trickle sideways and sprout. And like simultaneous nature. When if we embrace visually to correlation, Forsaken, mass amount of people at once. See, that was built, that was forced with the fact cheaping nature slavery of our founders. That was recorded. There's a worse than war crimes method of knowing that, but of pretending not to realize by pretending things like racism caused slavery, pretending not to realize that our founders were that and how they didn't have free speech to great extents, far short of what they needed to have us understand how to defend the surface values of the Constitution simultaneously. The democratic, everyone, all opinions are recorded, lied to this way. They have election crimes. They have all kinds of nations with racketeering, with Justice Department, with psychology, with human fact cheating nature, with them pretending titles mean what they don't, pretending identities of law mean what they don't, using knowledge to get over on correlation nature, to get over on life's value nature system perfect. So they are incapable of having an election, and they are incapable of hearing the words that need to be said, because they reveal what is disgusting, pretending it is integrity, and that is in conjunction with crime methods that are overtly subtle and overt. They're overt and subtle at the same time. Now, to demonstrate this, what is actually recorded. That's why we have to have someone respond, because this is a racketeering method where they have people say things out that are lies, that are proven lies, and police keep them going on because originally and still the overt criminal enterprises, private ones, intermilitary, intercampuses, they were. When did that go away? They weren't used. They were used remotely in relationship to crazy database relationships that were layered since before computers. The computers makes this worse. They're going to walk to this location. They have the sensibilities of the online platforms recorded on used with this racketeering method that has the judges in collusion with a whole bunch of federal criminals, overt criminal enterprises, private ones, and themselves recorded, name stacking and pretending not to realize, pretending that means something it doesn't. That's why we have to have mandated law followed. And the judicial branch has been pretending this because of the roles of wire crime methods, mail crime methods, pretending to test people. They have legitimately. They're not. These are people involved also with AT&T so many ways. Now AT&T, I'll help you guys. I'll sign. I won't get you guys in trouble. Whatever. If you guys help, because these are people associated with former director of the FBI, with a whole bunch of foreign and domestic, whole bunch of people on and off Two Rod Highway, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. They also have the people that live next to them involved with them with racketeering and with the Dillon family. That's one of the common themes, and that's with houses in my area that are further involved with them with racketeering, with the principal sex offender, and with forensics locations through time, with their extended family members involved, also with human trafficking, with that, with WFSB. Now, Phil Cololo and these two Mendez police are further recorded, also with people with the name KNERR, also recorded, confessed by Officer Jerry Miller, with himself and a Kerr family further involved with wire crime, mail crimes, crimes with judges and people within the Britain Superior Court, tons of them that I don't even know the names of. They're involved with falsified police reports, database racketeering, also on off CCSU, and with people associated with uses of CNN remote. There are 5 identities of spirit. Spirit is this is bigger than spirit. The emotions have a course and a way in relationship to these 5 identities of value, as identity, as values are in relationship to positive and negative, and positive and negative is in relationship to the identities bond, qualitative diffusion, increasingly in diffusion in relationship to one identity of volume and its identity of relationship to itself, which is the phenomenon in temporary, while it's still temporary / lasting. That lasting is already bonded to the temporary, and that slash is another nature of volume, semi-nature. Those are 3 bonded semi-nature, and there are 2 identities of sequence nature, one before and after this. When Jesus says he is the Alpha, he is the Omega, he is saying that the forever's complete identity is has an identity of relationship to itself that is positive or negative. And that's where we are increasing the forever nature's forever nature, its identity in relationship to us as the positive or negative. Forever nature, invisible but still discernible. English is revealed to teach this. Okay, so they also have the cross. used to worse than obfuscate and keep out from worse than obfuscated through other motivations nature's needs. Pretend, they're about positive. They're about sensibilities. I mean, they're about the spirit. A or B. It's not. We're in an identity of negative value nature progression. The devil is not about. This is about an archetypal racketeering method that tricked, hurt, persuaded, forced, and revealed semi-ancient into modern nations on a trap, tactically denature relationship to nature and to sciences, convictions in relationship to the real causes of negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures. Now everyone was invested blaming self-value, blaming other things other than themselves. These are not means. This is since before cars. This is a trap. We have to go. So we have to afford means that no individual grouped together. We have to do this as a species, needed to clean up, not just clean up, needed to counter the tactically denatured relationship to the ground below the foundation of modern nations. Because that is value also as nature. Nature is value where it counts. We're a factory of nature. It is an identity of value/value progression on top of that. And that interacts with that per the science that it goes by what is really evolution's fruits and gifts. It means. It's not about money. Why there are problems with pipes in different states and stuff like that. Those are also national impositions. These were breaching roles employed, breaching screens employed to pretend other. Pseudo patriotism roles originating still. Victim predators incapable of defending what they call their opinions. Incapable of defending their opinions and of affording mandated law with true science, and free speech at the same time. I just remind. So media is recorded consciously using the crime method of pretending because they speak through other people and because they have titles, they don't realize that they're involved with racketeering with them. And that while they're pretending to be against that with the president. So we're going to see the map and we're going to go deeper then. Because these are people also on and off Two-Route Highway with a whole bunch of people recorded, confessed, and demonstrated people I don't know the names of in a Faenza family with racketeering roles with the courts criminally involved, but also on and off the state judicial branch offices with the road and the houses right next to it, and their roles with people all along that route from across the Putnam Bridge all the way into Glastonbury, where the route ends, and you go left or right. Vaccines recite. So I need a response in writing.